Got to be a reason. All right, well, welcome back to...
You gonna tell him?
Yeah, I probably will, but let me start over again. All right, welcome. We're here at Kingsland, Texas at the U2 Ministry podcast location. Once again. We just did this podcast an hour ago, but we forgot to hit record. I know. It's crazy.
Amateurs.
I know. We're so amateurs. No wonder Pando doesn't want us. We can't even get the record button on.
You stop it.
I will stop it. So, anyway, here we are back at the podcast again, doing our whatever we're doing. And I'm Tom. I'm Mr. Amazing. What makes me amazing? It's Jesus. And who might you be?
I'm Kimberly. I am also amazing, but I'm not, whatever. I'm a justice-impacted individual. I have spent 12 years of my adult life in the prison system, so that means I've basically spent my whole adult life in the prison system. I have been out for 3 years. I am a delivered drug addict. I say delivered because I don't believe that I am in recovery. I don't believe that I still have that hanging over me. I believe that Jesus took it whenever I gave my life to him and I really started walking with him. And I love God. I love God. I'm out here. Life isn't easy, but I'm still, waking up every day and choosing to walk with the Lord. And hey, that's a big success.
Yeah. You know what? I like what you said there because a lot of people think, or a lot of people are teaching that once you're an addict, always an addict. Yeah, I don't think so. Because once you're a drunk, always a drunk. No, because I'm not a drunk. I'm not that anymore. That's not me. That's already gone. So once an addict, always an addict. I don't think so because that would not be what Jesus says. The old is gone, the new is here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So who's ever teaching it that.
Every AA and NA.
I know every AA. Yeah, they might know a little bit of what they're doing, but whatever. And I'm not really into the higher power. I'm into Jesus.
Jesus
is the man. So anyway, Kim, last week you had a little tire jump up and smack your car, hit you right in the face.
I did.
And I guess you haven't got your car back yet.
I haven't. I'm in my little tin can rental.
You're in the old tin can.
Yeah.
You didn't park it in the back. You parked it in the front, but it's okay because it's dark outside, so nobody's going to see it.
It's such a bad car. It's not that great.
It's still running, though, isn't it?
I mean, okay, yeah, it does run, but I went to go pick up my friend's son, and I was keeping him for the day, so I went to go pick him up, and he was so excited to go to my house, and whenever he walked out, he was like, Kim's car? I was like, no, that's not Kim's car. Can you say rental?
Yeah.
So I mean, he's 2.
I thought you said he was 3.
He's not even 3.
He's not even 3, and you're just trying to intimidate him with your car?
You're
trying to impress him with your...
Yeah, impress him.
That is not my car. It's a rental. Say rental.
Yeah, I taught him the word rental.
Right? Because he got home and the parents were like, how was your time? He said, well, I had to drive in that junky car of hers, but it was a rental.
He could. Maybe.
Yeah, it's
He's
little
smart.
kids. Well, I can't believe that you really, you got to impress those little kids, but whatever. No, that is not my car.
I got to be cool,
You got to be cool.
Got to keep it.
I know. That's why I wanted you to park it out back, but it is what it is. So anyway, so you did some babysitting this week?
I did. That is probably whenever you have been the person that no one can trust and nobody wants around. Because I've been that guy. I've been that person. Nobody even wants you in their home. Even the drug addicts didn't want me in their home. You know what I mean? Whenever you've become that person, you're that low in life, and then later on down the road, fast forward, someone is trusting you to pick up their child in your vehicle and take them to your house and lets you take them out for ice cream and trust you with nap time and just caring for this child, then that says a lot about where God has brought me from.
That's right. Yeah.
I'm going to go pick him up this Saturday and take him to breakfast.
Oh, well, now they got a babysitter.
Yeah, I like him.
Well, you know what you should do? You should take him to the place that Kathy and Dennis told me to go to, the place where the dinosaur tracks. He's probably he may be a little bit too small for that.
Yeah, he might be too little.
Wait till he's 5. Because the dinosaur tracks over there in Leander is pretty cool.
But no, so I always play with him because that's where we go do our game nights over there.
Okay. So
I always play with him and everything, but I've taught him how to body slam, like wrestling. So every time he's around, he's like, body slam.
Okay, well, that's okay. At least, you're having fun with it.
Yeah, so.
Body slam. That's all right. Little kids, they get annoying, but they're still all right. So I was with my grandkids last Saturday going to the dinosaur tracks, and my little granddaughter, she's 5. She's like, "Grandpa, I want to pray." So we stopped, and she starts praying. She said, "Jesus, help me not pee my pants." Anyway, man, I couldn't quit laughing because it was pretty funny. And it's funny how little kids come to God, right? They just say whatever. And I think that's okay because Jesus said we need to come to him like little children, not be afraid to say stuff to him. Yeah. So that was pretty cool. I've been having a good time with my grandkids.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is.
I didn't know they had that dinosaur track thingy out there.
Yeah, I didn't. And Kathy and Dennis told me about that. It wasn't that hard to get to.
Did they like it? Were they like amazed by the dinosaur tracks?
Kathy and Dennis?
No, the kids.
No.
Not Kathy and Dennis, the kids.
No, they were not really, but it was cool. I had put a hand by them. And you know what we should do, Kim, is you should put that on this podcast, a picture of those dinosaur tracks.
Okay.
So why don't you put that on there right now? Oh, man, that's the greatest picture I've ever seen. It's funny saying it twice, isn't it? It is kind of weird saying it twice, but it is what it is.
I keep looking at and making sure we're still recording.
I know. I got my eye on that this time.
In all fairness, we did push record. Our memory thing, yes, ran out of space, and it stopped like 2 minutes in. Yeah,
I don't think so. I think I actually put. I think we were going to pray, and I didn't push to start again. I really did.
So this is your fault.
Yeah, it's probably my fault. But maybe it isn't. Whatever, it's okay. So you have a scripture this week, Kim?
Oh my gosh!
Because you've been going over some stuff.
I have.
I heard you've been worrying, even though Jesus says don't worry.
I am, because I'm just going through a really difficult time.
Oh, so it's okay to worry then?
Well, no, but I do it because I'm a human.
Okay. That's a good excuse.
Like all humans, you just are going through a difficult time. I just feel like things just keep piling on top of me. And so I'm just like worried and fearful and stressing myself out. But I've been really good these last couple days, and, really just like every time my mind starts going there and I start like, just really steering myself back to Jesus. And to the point, I listen to sermons every morning when I get up, right? And that's what I do whenever I get ready for work. And I just don't know where to go in my Bible, because I'm just like, my mind is just all over the place. And so this really kind of like stuck with me. It was Isaiah 41:10. Don't be afraid, for I am with you. Don't be discouraged. I have been fearful and discouraged. For I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will hold you up with my victorious right hand. So that's kind of what I've been leaning on to, especially these last couple days. I've really been trying to change my mindset, because like whenever you get in that where you're worrying about everything and things are getting fearful and these are I'm a bad overthinker. I start making up all these scenarios in my head that's about to happen. That aren't true. Most likely aren't true, right? But they could happen, and I can really get myself in a dark place, and so I've been...
Kind of like the color of your hair?
Oh my God, what is up with you and my hair?
I'm not just saying, it's just dark, that's all.
But yes, I could get as dark as my hair color, but I've been really trying not to get there, and it's been good. It's been good these last couple days. I'm not saying all my stuff has gone away, because those things are still very much real in my life, but I'm not letting them control my day to day.
Yeah, and it's life, man. Things go up, things go down, things happen, things don't happen, things are good, things are bad. It's just the way it is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks
for
that.
What about you?
What's been happening with me? You know what? I'm going to say some things about the prison system. So what's been super cool about that is we've been playing that baptism. I played that baptism thing that you put together, the little clips. And so I played that at Woodman, and then we had some girls wanting to get baptized after they watched that. And I played it at Halbert. We had a lot of girls wanting to get baptized over there. So we're trying to get – the baptisms are probably easy to get going, but getting the camera in there, that's not as easy as you think it is. So we're in the process of getting the camera because when people get baptized in the prison system, a lot of times their family can't ever see it. But this way we could take pictures of it or video it, put it on the Facebook – or not Facebook, well, Facebook, or we could put it on the YouTube, and then people can go to see their family members get baptized, which is super cool. Plus, it's so encouraging for other people to see it.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's a lot of people making some really good decisions in the prison system. Really good, right? So that's been exciting. So been doing the Bible study class, which is not really a Bible study, but whatever it is. And over there at Halbert, it's been great. And then so I'm going to Woodman tomorrow, and we're going to play that podcast that you did last week, but we put some clips of some other things in there. Not we, but you did. And that's pretty cool because we could put a clip of the girls when we did the hygiene, and then, just a couple other things that I thought were pretty cool. So, for you that are at Halbert, we just thank you for encouraging us. And at Woodman, right on, and, hang in there, and, it's going to be okay.
Right on, man.
Right. Oh, that's right. Okay. Cut. And then, over there at San Saba, you guys are doing a good job. And I just haven't met the chaplain yet at Hilltop, so I don't know exactly what's going on there. And then something else that's happening with us over there at Lockhart is, you remember when the last time we were over there on a Saturday, the girls that were singing?
Yes.
Remember that? And we were both looking at each other because the one girl was really, not saying they both weren't good, but one was like
American Idol type
like American Idol, like, wow, man, that was great. So those girls, they always want to perform, right? They always want to do something. So I told them every time that we come to church service, once every fourth week or every fourth Saturday, you guys, you can always perform. You can always do stuff. Because I think it's good to let them involved and get them involved, to give them some hope and like to have a purpose. And, and sometimes when you're in prison, you don't get any of those opportunities. Well, we're good at letting them have those opportunities, right? And you know that. And then, so what happened was I got the lyrics of some of the songs that they had made, the lyrics of the songs they had, come up with. So I'm getting some transparencies made so then when we go back over there, we could show the transparencies and people can sing along or at least know some of the words, right?
Yeah.
And then over there at San Saba, I told CB that what we were going to do over there at Lockhart. And then I said, we'd like to do that at San Saba because I actually heard him play the guitar. He's good, and he's a good singer too. So, and he was singing a song that he had wrote. So I said, why don't you get me some of the lyrics to those songs? We'll put them on transparencies, and then when we come here the next time, we could play them, and the guys could sing along to your stuff, right? And he said, oh, man, that would just be great because that just gives people hope too.
That's awesome.
Isn't it? I'm really good with that.
He wouldn't sing on the podcast.
He wouldn't sing on the podcast. He was a little nervous. So you girls over there at Hilltop or at Woodman, I don't know who's singing, but let's go. And at Halbert.
Do I get to go watch all that?
I don't know if you're not working. And Halbert, does anybody sing over there? Well, when we're playing this podcast, somebody get up and sing, and then I'll judge. Because I have had people sing before in the past. They were horrible. I'm thinking, man, only your mother could love that song. Or Jesus. Jesus is the only one that's going to like that song. Because everybody else is like, ah!
Get her off of there. Get her off the stage.
Like, how do you get that chalkboard screechy sound going?
Like the hook thing that they did back in the day?
Yeah. I would like to do that. Or just squirt them with the gas. No, that wouldn't be very nice.
Oh, my God.
But that would be fun. That would be fun. So anyway, so let's do a little bit of our Bible study. So when you were in prison, and you know what? You don't have to be in prison to do this. You ever question God? Like, why?
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. I've been struggling with that now.
Well, that's probably true. Why did the tire jump out of the road and hit my car? That's really where this lesson is inspired.
Why are they increasing all my bills? Like, why?
That's true.
Why am I having to drive 82 hours to get to work every day?
82 hours? No, 82 miles? Maybe not 82 hours because that's more than a whole day. Wow. It takes me 3 days to drive to work in one day. Yeah, that makes sense.
It feels like.
Yeah, it probably does. But then why not say, hey, gas
Why?
prices are down, so that's good.
Yeah. Why do I have to be piled up with all of this extra responsibility? Why?
Yeah.
Why does
Well,
making something of myself have to be so hard? I know. I can keep going.
you can. Okay, so let me ask you this, because I heard you say this about 25 minutes ago. Um, like when you were in prison, did you like you said that God had taken everything from you?
Oh, yes, he did. You know, I'd already said this before on multiple podcasts. I already grew up really terribly and didn't have like good family support, and so I didn't really have any of that. And so the immediate family that I had, right, that were not that great. Well, except my mama, she was good. Yeah, so my mama died, my baby brother who I grew up with my entire life, and my mom, and there were some like other people that were kind of like family, you know, like my mom's boyfriend she's had all my life, on and off. He died. Just like people, everyone had died. And so I went through that, like, okay, like, you've taken everything, not to mention I was in prison for the death of a person. So I'm like, okay, you've literally taken my sanity and my life, and now you've taken every crappy family member, not Mama and Justin, but you know, you're just taking everything from me. They weren't even that great anyways, so you never really gave me anything. Why are you taking everything? I don't even have the bad stuff now. You know, I went through that.
So you kind of know what Job was going through. A little bit. I mean, I never went through the boils. Yeah, that's probably good.
I did go through bad tooth pain in prison.
I bet you did.
That's terrible.
You think? Huh. Well, they just try to pull it out one at a time?
Yeah, and I was like, no, please don't take all my teeth. So I just lived with it.
But, you know, when you were going there, when you were in prison, because I've heard people, you know, like, why does this happen? Why does that happen? Why did God let it? Why did I not get the set off? Why did I get a set off? Why did I get this? Why did I get a case?
Yeah.
Why did I get a...
Why doesn't anyone write me? Why doesn't
anybody write me? Why is there a corn dog with no stick in it? Why is the meatballs have no sauce on them? Why is there a bologna in a grilled cheese sandwich? I've always wondered that. Why did I get a Johnny?
You never had like a fried bologna grilled cheese?
No, never had.
Oh, that's
I don't
so
think
good.
so. I don't think so. So that kind of goes with our lesson today, because I think a lot of us go, why? So I'm going to go over a few things. You ready?
Yep. This coffee's really good.
It is good. I'm glad you like it. Okay, a couple things. And the reason why we're doing this is because now we're doing these little Bible studies, or we're getting these little home groups going. So we're going to go over some of this in the home group.
Cool.
Right? Because I think it's kind of okay to watch the
Y'all
podcast.
better pay attention in the home group.
Yeah, like whatever. Yeah, you in the back.
See you back there.
I thought I saw a girl sleeping the other day in the back. She said she wasn't sleeping. She was praying.
See, oh, no. That is like the universal, she was dozing off.
She was dozing off. I know, because I was over there. I'm like, it looks like she's dozing off. But that was okay, because you know what? She could have been up early.
Yeah.
You know, man, somebody, you got to go for breakfast at 4 o'clock in the morning. That's nuts.
Yeah.
Okay, so some of the things that we may say. Financial problems and poverty. Why? Job loss, career failure, relationship issues, right? Divorce, broken friendships. Why? Unplanned pregnancies, consequences, poor choices, legal trouble, addiction, car accidents, and other random tragedies. Why did a tire jump up and hit my car? Right? I mean, really, right?
Why?
Why did,
Philip.
Exactly. General lack of success or fulfillment in life, feeling unloved, unwanted, disappointed in life's outcomes. You know what? We probably all have had those questions, like every single one of those. And then the existence of evil and suffering in the world. Haven't you said that? Why,
Yeah.
God? Why?
Absolutely.
Human free will and its negative consequences. The perceived silence or inaction of God during a crisis. Have you ever just asked, like, God, where are you? Are you even listening to me? Do you even hear me? Right? Why aren't you saying anything? The nature of the world is fallen or imperfect. Why good people suffer? You tell me you've never heard that. Why prayer doesn't always result in a desired outcome. Yeah, I pray to God, and it's never what I ask, and we just get mad at him. The existence of Satan and temptation, I've wondered about that too. What's up with that? The feeling of being tested or punished unfairly. While the world is not a perfect place, why sin is present. Why he created the world where suffering is possible. Why he allows people to make bad choices that affect others. I've said that before because, people that have been abused by other people, especially little kids, like, God, why would you allow that to happen? Right? I mean, anything that happens to little kids that is not right, you're just like, come on, God, what's up with that? I mean, I can never understand that. I'll never be able to understand that. Well, I might be able to understand it, but it's going to take a while to get it. I just don't see the giant picture. I'm just seeing what's right now, and it's just heartbreaking. The instance of misfortune or bad luck, the limits of human understanding and knowledge. Why are we limited? The consequences of humanity's original sin, the fall. Why doesn't he intervene more often? Like he could have easily, when that tire popped up, slapped it out of the side of the road for you. We could have. You had a self-driving car. You could have had it on. It could have swerved out of the way. The inherent weakness or sin nature, the reason for personal trials and tribulations, the overall condition of a broken people of the world. And then there's these right here, right? Volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, hurricanes, tornadoes, floods, storm surges. And then like floods, like I live in a flood-prone area, and one day everything's fine. It could rain 10 or 15 inches. And next thing you know, the whole neighborhood, everybody's house is flooded.
That's
and
right,
because
you got hit by that flood, didn't you?
Yeah, even on the last 4th of July, the floodwaters came not into your house, but there was a lot of people a couple years ago that they got lost to everything. And then, like I was saying earlier, like in Joplin, Missouri. Years ago, they had this giant tornado come through, and I had a friend of mine named Brett, whose parents lived there, and we brought this trailer, and we had this giant freezer full of burgers, and we drove it up to Missouri, and it was funny because we stopped somewhere, plugged it in, made sure it stayed frozen. Anyway, we were serving burgers there, because there was a lot of people misplaced. So it was a bad deal. But when you're driving into Joplin, you're thinking, man, what's going on? The town's just fine. And then there's a little bit of damage, and then all of a sudden there's a line just like straight through town. As far as you could see this way and as far as you could see that way, nothing there. Some slabs and maybe some big giant tree stumps, and cars spread out everywhere. It was the biggest disaster I've ever seen. And you just think, God, why? And then you wonder why, like the people in the morning, they just wake up and the next day they've lost everything. And I'm talking everything. And then people two blocks away or 3 blocks away or 4 blocks away, they didn't even have shingles fly off their roof. And you're like, God, why did that happen? Right? Or storm surges, right? If you're on the coast, you've seen those pictures of like all of a sudden a hurricane comes, the surge comes, and next thing you know, there's one house standing there. And everybody else's house is gone. Drought, wildfires, tsunamis, famine, starvation. Like, why would you seen those little kids with the big bellies, right, starving? Like, why are you letting that happen? Wars, terrorist attacks. One day, next thing you know, you're going to work in a tower. The next day it's flat, or that same day it's flattened. Global conflicts. And then other stuff, personal stuff, cancer and other diseases. Like, God, why? Sickness and infirmities, birth defects, the death of loved ones, especially children, abuse, neglect, authority figures, mental health struggles, depression, anxiety, chronic pain, loss of property and home. I mean, we have all said those things, haven't we? Mm-hmm. I mean, maybe almost all of those.
Like, why, Jesus?
Why, God? Why? So in the book of Job, Job was like the best guy in town. He had integrity. He was blameless. He wasn't perfect, but he was blameless. His character was great, and he was rich. He was filthy rich. So Satan said to God that Job is blameless, but if I took everything away from him, he would curse you. So God says, I don't think he's going to, but I'm going to give you permission to take everything from Job, but just don't hurt him. And then all of a sudden, Job lost his family. He had 3,000 camels, 7,000 sheep and oxen and donkeys, and he had it all. He had 7 boys, 3 girls. Everything was taken from Job except for his wife. Job's like, what's up with that, Satan? Right? Like, what's up with that? You took my family, my kids, all my animals, my house, everything you took from me, but you left me my old lady.
Well, you know what? She was probably thinking, like, all of this is happening to him. He's causing a lot of drama in my life. Just take him, Lord. So. Well,
she later on is telling Job, curse God and die.
Yeah, because she's like, you're causing too many dramas around here.
Yeah, I could see that.
So just go die.
Yeah, and Job is just like, oh, man, the one thing, which I'm just kidding about that. But it is kind of weird how God took everything from Job except for his wife.
Right? Because he needed a partner.
Well, he did. He needed somebody to, right? Anyway, so he did. So Job never cussed God, but Job did do a lot of whining. If you go Job chapter 3 or 1, all the way to probably, almost to 38.
1 to 38, he's just whining the whole time?
No, he wasn't whining the whole time. He wasn't whining the whole time. But he had friends that came. And the thing about the friends is, no. Satan took everything from Job, and then he did not curse God. So then Job said, or Satan said, if I injure him physically with body ailments, he'll curse you then. And God said, okay. So then Satan could put boils on him, and I heard boils were tough, like super painful. So then Job's lost everything, and now he's got boils. And then he's got these friends that show up that don't say anything to him for a week. You know what, sometimes, like I was saying earlier, I've been to funerals before, and I went to a funeral one time when this boy named Dwight was there, and he was in high school, and his sister had died, and his sister was in high school too. And I said, something about the funeral. He said, I said, like, what's the worst part, right? What's the worst part? He says, the worst part is everybody coming up to me and saying, are you all right? Are you all right? Are you all right? And he's like, no, I'm not all right. And then I realized at that time, I never say, are you okay at a funeral? A lot of times at a funeral, I just won't talk. Sometimes you don't need to say anything. Maybe just because you're there, you don't really feel as though you always have to say something. And Job's friends didn't say anything for like 5 to 7 days. They felt so bad for him. There was nothing they could say until Job started to talk. And then Job was talking, and then their friends were giving him bad advice, which we should probably talk about that on another podcast. And then Job has this other guy who shows up and starts telling Job all the stuff that he should be doing, right? Don't you have that too? When something's happened to you in your life, there's always that one person, well, you need to read this, and you need to do this, and you need to do this. And sometimes you just want to tell them to shut up, right? And I'm not saying that they didn't care, but this guy wasn't giving the greatest advice either, right? And I'm saying that sometimes you need to give advice, but sometimes God's already working. Does that make some sense?
Yeah.
Right? So you know something about this because God had really taken everything from you, and you're in a dark place in a cell, right? Yeah. And you probably had a lot of bad advice from people too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of bad advice. So anyway, so Job is whiny. Why?
I did that too. I was whiny for a minute.
But just like what we still do, right? With the tire, because, you said, like, why would God allow that to happen? I need my car at ministry. And then my grandson, when he was younger, he needed surgery. And I'm like, God, why won't you just heal him? Why not just heal him? Why let him go through this surgery when you could just heal him? I got to watch my daughter freaking out. I got to watch my grandson go in there. Why not just heal him and be done with it? And I remember saying that. And there was another time that I had a friend of mine whose brother died, and I went and drove down the street and I was screaming at God. I parked my car, got out, just started screaming at the stars. Why did you let that happen? You say you're a loving God, and you're letting this happen, and they're having to go through this, and why are you blah 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 blah. God still loved me through that. But there's times when we're asking God, why did you give me the set off? Why don't I have clothes that fit? Why am I at this prison? Why did you take me? You know what? We talked about this in a couple podcasts ago. We didn't, but Jesse did. Jesse talked about, or one of the guys talked about, they were at a different prison. Then they were moved over here, and they're thinking, why am I over here? I think it was Lance who said, why am I over here? Like, why would you bring me over here? Everything was going fine at the other place. And then when he got over here, then he realized after a while, now I see why.
Yeah.
Right? But you're whining at the time. So then here's what we're going to go to now. Because when Job got done whining, God comes to him in verse 30, in chapter 38. It says, then the Lord answered Job from a whirlwind. So I don't know what God's voice is, but I bet you it's, for some reason I'm catching it super deep. Right?
Like Robert Earl Jones?
Maybe like Robert Earl Jones.
Or like Mufasa?
Who's that?
You know, from The Lion King.
No, I don't know that.
Darth Vader.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe like a Darth. Job, this is God. Right? And where have you seen
Without the
that?
respirator.
Haven't you seen that like on those old-timey movies where God's like, I told you to stop or whatever, right? So God's like, he's speaking to Job through a whirlwind. And a whirlwind, I don't know if it's a tornado or what it is, but whatever it is, it's powerful. Whatever it is, it's got Job's attention. And Job is probably thinking, oh no, what's happening now?
This doesn't sound very dramatic, but I I would put everything on it that this whole scenario that he's going through is probably extremely dramatic. I mean, like rushing winds in the middle of this whirlwind. You see stuff flying around, big audible God voice talking.
Yeah.
It's probably intense.
Could you imagine? Because you know what? Just to hear God's voice would probably be enough to scare you.
Well, yeah, like that's the whole reason why we don't see him, because we couldn't. I mean, Moses couldn't. He couldn't, he had to wear a veil over his face.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and we're asking God why, and then we wouldn't be able to handle him even showing himself to us.
Yeah, like the Israelites couldn't even look at Moses after he's been in the presence of the Lord.
That's right.
Because it was just so powerful.
Yeah. You know what? I don't know if it says that in this, but that's what God could say. You're whining, but you don't even, you can't even see me. I can't even have my presence in your deal because you won't be able to handle it.
Yeah.
Right? So that probably was a little bit scary.
Yeah.
I could see Job thinking, yeah, now what? Right? So it says, who is this who obscures my counsel with ignorant words? Get ready to answer me like a man. When I question you, will you inform me? So for you girls that
Uh-oh.
I know it. Now it's hard. It was easy to say it last time. So for you girls that want to be dudes, you might not want to be a dude here. Here's the time where you go back and say, no, I don't want to be a dude. Because when God says, answer me like a man, that's the time where you don't want to be a man. Because if God's like, Job, I hear you whining, and I'm going to ask you some questions, and get ready because you better stand up and you better answer it like a man. What does that mean? That means that, you know what? There's too many guys nowadays wishy-washy. They're not men. They're just like boys. Well, God's like, no, you're going to be complaining. You're going to be whining. You stand up there like a man, and I'm going to ask you these questions. You better answer them. Right? Pretty much what he says. And the first question is, where were you when I established the earth? And you know what? That right there, that one question will humble me. That one question will make me to quit asking God questions. Why? Because where was I when God put it all together? I wasn't even around yet. When God put it all together, do I know how he put it all together? No, he spoke it. Well, how does that work? I have no idea. Right? I have no clue. So he's asking Job, you know everything? Well, where were you? Tell me, if you have any understanding, who fixed the dimensions? Certainly you know. Who stretched out a measuring line across it? What supports its foundation? Who laid its cornerstone, while the morning stars sang together, and all the sons of God shouted for joy? Who enclosed the sea behind the doors, when it burst from the womb? When I made the clouds its garment and thick darkness its blanket, when I determined its boundaries and put the bars and the doors in place, when I declared you may come this far but no farther, your proud waves stop here. Have you ever in your life commanded the morning or assigned the dawn its place? You know what? So when I'm asking God questions, why, and God's like, oh, really? Well, when's the last time that you ever commanded the morning to appear? When did you assign the dawn its place? I said, right? So it may.
You see, Lord.
Yeah, you see, Lord. Yeah. So it may seize the edge of the earth and shake the wicked out of it. The earth is changed as clay is by a seal. Its hill stands out like the folds of a garment. Light is withheld from the wicked, and the arms raised in violence is broken. Have you traveled to the source of the sea, or walked in the depths of the ocean? Have the gates of death been revealed to you? Have you seen the gates of the deep darkness? Have you comprehended the extent of the earth? Tell me, if you know all this, where is the road to the home of light? Do you know where darkness lives? So can you lead it back to its borders? Are you familiar with the paths of its home? Don't you know? You were already born and have lived so long. You know what? I know that it's making it look like God is really on Job's case, but I think that God is trying to reveal himself, and he's trying to help Job know that he is in control of it all. Like, I have made this, and I've got the sea, because really, you think about the ocean, it's in a globe, and why it doesn't fall off, and how the sand stops it, and it only goes so far, and it never gets fuller than full. Ice caps could melt, and it really doesn't move anything, right? Where all the torrential rains or the floods, and the ocean still stays somewhat in the same distance. Or how the clouds come, and how the rain comes, and how the lightning comes, and how God's put it all together, and how it all works. And I have no clue how it all works, but he does know how it all works. And then it goes on to say about the stars, and how they're in the, how can you take these stars? Can you move those two stars? Can you move this planet over here? Can you do this and this? And you know what? Job finally realizes that, I can't do any of that. So God is actually showing his power. He's on Job's case a little bit, but what he's doing, he's saying, just trust me. I've already put this all together. I love you so much, and I know that it looks like it's not going to work out, but it is going to work out, and I am going to make it work out, because that's what God says. Doesn't he? Doesn't he say that he makes all things work together for the good? Right? Even in your scenario, even the tire scenario, the tire comes popping out of the road, like a little game, bonk, the tire comes shooting out, you run over it, your car gets smashed somewhat, front end's a little damaged, and then you have a hard time getting off the road, but God did get you off that highway.
He did.
He managed.
And he sent a gentleman to zip tie my
That's what I was going with. He got you off the highway, so yeah, the tire happened, but we're like, why did you let the tire happen? God could easily say, well, Kim, why didn't I let somebody rear end you? Why did I let the guy zip tie your thing up? Why did I get you the insurance here quicker? Why did you get your car towed to the place? Why did I so there was a lot of things like we always say, God, why? But we're never really thanking him for all the positive things that he did do. Why, because I-35, just to get off of that road when you're in the fast lane, when it's traffic like that, you know what, that takes some maneuvering.
It's a miracle that there was not a worse wreck from that.
Isn't it?
Because that is a busy road.
Right? So I know, because I just thought about that, but we were like, why the tire? Well, God's like, what about all the other stuff that I did do?
Yeah.
Right? He's trying to help you to put your trust in him, to be able to handle the situation, to make the phone calls, to be a grown-up, to take care of responsibilities. Why? Because then you can help the people that are in prison who aren't used to the life, or when they get out, they're going to have some issues, and maybe you're inspiring them to be able to go through those things Yes?
Yes.
And I'm not saying that that's what the truth is, but a lot of times we don't know what God has put together. The tire may be something that was a miraculous thing. Now, some of the heartaches and the why things happen to kids, I have no idea. And I don't have the answers to those questions. But I don't have to have the answers to the questions because I'm not God. And when I ask God those questions, it's like I'm asking God to come down to my level. And God is telling Job right here, no, man, there's another level that you don't know about. Just trust me, right? So there's like chapter, because he's talking about all sorts of animals. How did you put this together? And did you do this? And the mountain goats. And he's talking about, ostriches. And then, I mean, he is. Right, so we'll go over some. Where does the hawk go? How does the eagle know where to go? How do certain animals know how do certain animals need to go? And then they know exactly where they were born and can go back to their hundreds of miles away and go back to their nest.
That is pretty cool that they migrate.
How do they know that? How does that happen? I have no idea, but God has made that happen. Yes?
Yes.
So anyway, then after God tells Job all these things about what God can do and he can't. So what he's doing is he's saying, quit asking me why. I got it under control. But then Job answers the Lord. No, it says first, verse 40, it says, the Lord answers Job, will the one who contends with the Almighty correct him? How could I correct the Lord? Here I am asking why. It's like I need you to. It's like I'm correcting him. You let these things happen because you're not good. You're not just. Because then it says, let him who argues with God give answers. Well, I don't have the answers. So if I'm going to argue with God, I need to have some answers too. But God is just and God is right and He is going to work it out. And I just have to trust that. I got to start looking at things more positive. So then Job answers the Lord after all these things that God is showing him. I am so insignificant. How can I answer you? Job has realized that he's insignificant, like he doesn't know all the answers to all the questions. It humbles Job. But you know what? There's peace in that too, because I don't have to know all the answers. And I am at peace with that. Because when things happen, I'm like, all right, you know what, God, you're just going to have to help me get through this. And I don't want what happened to Job to happen to me. So recently, since I've been reading this, I've had more fear of the Lord. Hey, God, because it says in the first chapter of Job that God put not a hedge of protection, but a wall of protection. And we're talking about a hedge. So I know in the Bible there's a hedge of protection, like Satan's just afraid of landscaping. But God put a wall of protection up for Job. And then God had to take the wall down for Satan to attack him. You know what, God? I want you to keep the wall up over here for me, please. Right? Because Job also said God can give and God can take away. And God can give and take away. Yeah. And who am I to say anything different? I have to learn how to deal with that. And I have to trust that His ways are good. But you know what, God, I don't really want you to take it away. And then I think, well, I hate to see you take it all away. But then I think, you know what? I'm going to die one of these days, and it's all going to be gone anyway. And then I'm going to be going home with Him. Yes?
Yes.
So he says, how can I answer you? I place my hand over my mouth. I have spoken once, and I will not reply twice. But now I can add nothing. Then the Lord answered Job from a whirlwind. And He says, get ready to answer me like a man. When I question you, will you inform me? So he asks him again. And he said, would you really challenge my justice? Would you declare me guilty to justify yourself? And you know what? I don't want to question God's justice because God is holy and just. And whatever He does, it's going to turn out perfect. And I'm just going to have to live with that. I want to live with that. So I'm not going to question. I'm just going to do what my dad told me because I said so. And if God says because I said so, I got to trust that He's working it out for good. So, and then, not that, because we're going to end the podcast here soon, but not to end this in a negative thing, because God never did really explain to Job all the questions. He never told Job, this is why, this is why, this is why. And, maybe because maybe Job couldn't handle it. Maybe he still couldn't understand it. So what's it really matter if God could explain it to me? I can't still understand it anyway. So why even ask Him why? Because I'm not going to. If I can't understand this, how am I going to understand the explanation.
Right.
Because I'm not going to be able to fathom it. So anyway, if we flip over a couple of verses, it says, verse 42, Job replied to the Lord again and said, I know that you can do anything. No plan of yours can be thwarted. You ask, who is this who conceals my counsel with ignorance? Surely I spoke about things I did not understand. You know what? I want to try to hold back on some of the things I don't understand and complain to God about it. Because I should be saying, God does know, God does understand, and I'm going to trust that he doesn't need to tell me about it because I'm just part of his creation. I just need to do what God's called me to do, and that's have faith in him, not questioning everything he does. That's actually pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I come up with that just a minute ago. Surely I spoke about things I did not understand, things too wonderful for me to know. It says, you said, listen now and I will speak. When I question you, you will inform me. I heard rumors about you, but now my eyes have seen you. Therefore I take back my words and repent in ash, dust and ash. So you know what he did? He took back all the complaining. He said he was sorry. He repented from all the complaining. How many times have we done that in our lives to where we're complaining and then God works it out later and we go, man, God, I'm sorry I handled it that way. God, help me to handle it right. Help us to go through these things with the right attitude so we don't have to keep going back and asking for apologies or, sorrow. Or, God, I wish I wouldn't have handled that this way. I want to trust in him in all situations. So anyway, when it was over, the Lord had finished speaking to Job and his friends. It says that he said to his friends, I am angry with you and your two friends, for you have not spoken truth about me. So Job's friends were not talking truth about God. So then what happened was they needed to repent, but God says, Job, I want you to pray for them. So Job prayed for them, and God said, I am going to forgive you because of Job's prayer, right? And then they had to do some offerings. And then it says right here, it says, after Job had prayed for his friends. Now, I don't know, this is probably a whole different Bible study in itself. But once Job prayed for his friends, the Lord restored his prosperity and doubled his previous possessions. So everything that Job had now has doubled. So the Lord blessed the last part of Job's life with more than the first. He owned 14,000 sheep, 6,000 camels, 1,000 yoke of oxen, 1,000 female donkeys. He also had 7 sons and 3 daughters. No woman as beautiful as Job's daughters could be found in all the land. Job's got some good-looking kids, right? And their father granted them an inheritance with their brothers. Job lived 140 years after this and saw his children and their children to the 4th generation. Job died old and full of days. So you know what? Even though Job had lost everything, even though Job had the boils, but Job still complained, but he never really lost faith in God. He still knew God existed. And you know what? It doesn't say why Job had to go through this, but God did still restore stuff. Not only did he restore it, he doubled it. And he gave Job a long life. And maybe Job had to go through some of these things for us. And maybe you're having to go through some of these things for somebody else. And you may not understand it right now because the abuse and kids dying and the heartache and the suffering and all that, I'm not totally sure because I don't get it. But you know what? Somehow God's turning it into something good. And just through Job's life, there's lots of, just think how many people over the years have read this story and their lives have changed, or they put their trust in the Lord, or they quit whining about to God because of the things that Job went through. Job changed generation after generation after generation after generation of people. And maybe the same's for us. Maybe we have to go through some of these things because maybe God is changing the generations for here to come. Maybe we may not understand it now, but in 200 years from now, God sees the story in 200 years. And maybe those things happen because God's got something great in store. And when we see it, we may think, probably should have kept my mouth shut. But whatever the case may be, is you stay faithful to God and you watch God bless you. And just like Kim, Because you know what? She said that she was in prison with nothing. God had taken everything from her except for maybe an aunt and an uncle. And now that she's out, she may have whined a little bit, but she's following the Lord. She's trusting in the Lord. And God has doubled and tripled and quadrupled stuff in her life, right? She just got a new car. Sure, it had a tire, but now it's getting fixed. But her job and the promotions and serving the Lord, she's got stuff that you cannot even imagine that she would have never thought she would have had 3 or 4 or 5 years ago. And God's restored it all. And she's going to live a long life. Right?
Right.
So, it's the same scenario. So, you know what? Through Kim's life, through Kim's not giving up, through Kim's changing, through Kim following the Lord, take heart that it can happen for you too. Yes? Because you didn't want to go through that. When you were going through it, you're thinking nothing positive is going to come out of it. And just think how many people can get saved just by your testimony that you did go through it. Yes? And now you look back and you're thinking, all right, now I'm glad I went through it because I'm helping so many more people.
Yeah, I'm glad something can be made of it.
But doesn't that make some sense?
It does make some sense.
All right, so I'm done, but Kim's got some things to share with you.
Like I said on the last podcast, one of the cliche things that you hear when you're in prison is from all the do-gooder churches that come to preach to you, is there's no pit you find yourself in that God's love isn't deeper still. And I just feel like, come on, say some stuff that doesn't sound rehearsed. You know what I mean? Like, get real. I get it now.
You get it?
I get it now. Because, there are a bunch of different kinds of pits. Like, there's a pit of self-loathing, a pit of worry, a pit of fear. Like, whatever you're in is a pit, right? And there is just no situation in life or within ourselves that we will find ourselves in the darkest places that Jesus isn't going to be there with us. It's all about really giving everything to him and surrendering and getting serious about living life for God and actually walking that walk. Be kind, be meek, be long-suffering, be gentle, with others and with yourself. Be a giver, don't always be a taker. And bless others. Even whenever you don't feel like you have anything to bless with, do it anyways. It comes back. Maybe it's not monetary, but it'll come back in other ways that are way more valuable. Jesus has a beautiful life for each and every one of us. God did not create us to live in just complete agony forever. That's not his intention. Man and the world may make that happen for us and may make us believe that, but that's not true. God has a beautiful life waiting for you outside of those walls. A life where he'll give you the right family if you don't have family. He'll give you chosen family. He'll give you the right opportunities. He'll bring you help in ways that you never thought you would get it. He will save you in ways that you never would have imagined. You never would have even saw it as being saved until it happens. Like, God is amazing. And I've been the lowest of the low, and I have been in some of the darkest pits. And I still have my bad days, but I would rather have, what do I always say? I would rather have like the worst day out here now than the best day out there in my old life, So just hold on to Jesus and let him pull you out of that pit that you're in. Trust him and just follow him. And it's hard. It's the most challenging thing you will ever do in life. It is the most rewarding decision you will ever make in life. Probably the most important one. Because it's not just about what we do here on this world. It's about what we do after this world and our eternal salvation, So that's it. Just keep your head up and just know that Jesus is with you in every circumstance. You are not alone. So get up and run the race.
That's right. And don't let your questions keep you from serving the Lord.
Amen.
Because you can question God, why, and run from God because he's not giving you the answers. And in the end, you missed it.
You missed the boat.
All right, well, that concludes our podcast for tonight. Looking forward to see you guys. I'll see you at Woodman tomorrow and see you at Halbert on Monday and see you in San Saba and where else we're going, right?
Everywhere.
Everywhere. All right. Have a good evening, or good morning, or good afternoon. All right. Bye. Thanks for watching our podcast today. We want to give you the opportunity to trust Jesus as your Savior if you have not done that already. Just put your trust in Him. Follow Him in faith. Know that He is the perfect sacrifice for your sins. All you have to do is say, hey, Jesus, forgive me of my sins. I want to trust you. I want to follow you. I don't want to do it my way anymore. Come and live in me. I need eternal life. And you know what? Jesus will meet you right there, because the Bible says that when you do that you have eternal life. He'll never leave you or forsake you. It's amazing. I don't know what's taking you so long, but just quit wasting time, because the more you put it off, the more, not that you'll have regrets, but you'll wish you would have done it sooner. So whatever you're going through today, you trust Jesus and you let us know so we can do the happy dance with you. All right? Have a good afternoon or good evening or good morning whenever you're watching us. See you later.